Hey there, history buffs and fans of epic fails. Buckle up, buttercups, because we are diving into the most bonkers Olympic marathon ever. St. Louis, 1904. Imagine a time before Gatorade, energy gels, or even basic common sense in sports. Yeah, it was that kind of party. The 1904 Olympics were wild, even for the early days of the Games. Held alongside the St. Louis World's Fair, it was a logistical mess. But nothing, and I mean nothing, compared to the men's marathon. This was not your average test of endurance. This was a recipe for disaster, seasoned with hubris and a dash of what were they thinking. So grab your smelling salts because you're gonna need them. This is the story of the 1904 Olympic Marathon, a race so bizarre, so chaotic, so utterly ridiculous it could only be true. Let's do this. Let's talk about the course, shall we? Picture this. A sweltering August day in St. Louis, Missouri. The mercury's pushing 90 degrees, and the humidity's thicker than a bowl of St. Louis chili. Our intrepid runners, bless their hearts, are about to embark on a 24.85-mile trek. That's right, folks, not even the standard 26.2 miles. Why? Nobody knows. This was not a scenic jog through the park either. We are talking dusty, unpaved roads, 7 hills because why not? And obstacles like, trains and traffic. Because nothing says athletic competition like dodging a Ford Model T. But wait, it gets worse. The organizers, in their infinite wisdom, decided that water stops were for the weak. They subscribed to the purposeful dehydration theory. Yes, you heard that right. They actually thought depriving runners of water was a good idea. 1 water stop, that's all they got. Out of 32 runners who started in the race, only 14 crossed the finish line. Needless to say, this marathon was less about athletic prowess and more about survival. It was basically a real-life game of Oregon Trail, but with fewer dysentery deaths, probably. Now let's meet our winner, shall we? His name was Fred Lors, and let's just say he was a man who believed in taking the scenic route, by car. See, Fred started the race like everyone else, but around mile 9, he got a little tired. And by tired, I mean he hopped in a passing car. 11 miles later, after the car broke down, feeling refreshed and not at all sweaty, Fred decided to rejoin the race. He then proceeded to cross the finish line first, waving to the cheering crowd like he had just conquered Everest. The crowd went wild. The officials were ecstatic. For about 5 minutes, Fred Lors was the Olympic marathon champion. Until, of course, someone spilled the beans about his little automobile detour. Oops! Fred claimed it was all a joke. Yeah, hilarious Fred. Real knee slapper. Naturally, he was disqualified faster than you can say taxi. With Fred out of the picture, and hopefully banned from all future motorized transportation, the title of Olympic champion fell to the actual runner-up, Thomas Hicks. Now, Thomas's victory was not any less bizarre than Fred's, just a tad more pharmaceutically enhanced. See, Thomas was fading fast at around mile 20. Enter his trainers, who apparently missed the memo on ethical coaching practices. Their solution? A concoction that would make a modern-day sports scientist faint, a mixture of strychnine, yes, the rat poison, raw egg whites, and brandy. Surprisingly, this cocktail did not kill Thomas Hicks. Actually, in small doses, strychnine or rat poison acts like a stimulant for humans. What it did do was propel him forward in a delirious haze. He hallucinated. He nearly collapsed multiple times, but he kept going. And going. And eventually, after what must have felt like 1,000 years, he stumbled across the finish line. His time? 3 hours, 28 minutes, and 53 seconds. The slowest Olympic marathon time in history. But hey, at least he did not need a car, right? Felix Carvajal, the peach-stealing marathoner. Now, amidst all this chaos, there was one man who seemed to be having a grand old time. Felix Carvajal, the Cuban marathon runner who embodied the phrase, "It is the journey, not the destination." Felix, you see, was a man of limited means. In New Orleans, he gambled away his travel money to get to St. Louis and had to hitchhike the rest of the way. He also had very little to eat by the time he reached St. Louis. He showed up to the marathon in street clothes, which he then proceeded to cut into shorts, because fashion. During the race, Felix decided to take a little snack break. Not at a rest stop, mind you, but at a nearby orchard. He stuffed himself with peaches and apples, which, unfortunately for Felix, the apples turned out to be rotten. The result? An impromptu nap by the side of the road. Despite all this, Felix rallied. He finished the race in 4th place. 4th! The guy who hitchhiked, was starving, ate rotten apples, and took a nap in the middle of the race, finished 4th. Felix Carvajal, ladies and gentlemen, was the true winner of the 1904 Olympic Marathon. Or at least, the most entertaining. More mayhem dogs, dust, and disappearances. As if Fred, Thomas, and Felix were not enough, the 1904 marathon had even more colorful characters and incidents. Take, for instance, Len Taugnani and John Masciani, South Africa's first Black Olympic competitors. Both happened to be in St. Louis as part of the South African exhibit at the 1904 World's Fair. Running together, they both then had a run-in with a pack of aggressive dogs. The dogs chased the runners nearly a mile off course. Then there was William Garcia, who was so badly affected by the dust clouds kicked up by those fancy new automobiles that he collapsed. The poor guy literally tore his stomach lining from all the heavy breathing and had to be hospitalized. Another runner, John Lorden, suffered a severe bout of vomiting within the first 10 miles of the race and did not complete the race. And we cannot forget Albert Corey, who finished 2nd. Only problem? Nobody's quite sure if he was running for France or the United States. Olympic record-keeping at its finest, folks. Oh, and remember Felix Carvajal, our peach-loving friend? Well, his story gets even wilder. He continued racing after the Olympics, even disappearing for a while in Italy. Don't worry, he turned up. The man was a legend. The aftermath, rethinking the limits. So, what did we learn from this whole debacle? Well, for starters, maybe rat poison isn't the best performance enhancer. Also, water breaks are good, actually. And maybe, just maybe, we should let marathon runners use roads, not obstacle courses designed by a sadist. Surprisingly, the 1904 marathon did not kill the sport. In fact, it did the opposite. It made everyone realize just how grueling and dangerous the marathon could be. It sparked debates about athlete safety, proper hydration, and the importance of, not cheating. The 1904 Olympic marathon was a mess, a farce, a comedy of errors. But it was also a turning point. It forced the world to pay attention to this little thing called the marathon and respect the sheer willpower it took to finish, let alone win. The 1904 marathon, a legacy of laughs and lessons. Looking back, it is hard not to laugh and cringe at the 1904 Olympic marathon. It was a disaster, but a glorious, hilarious disaster. It was a testament to human endurance, both physical and mental, and to the boundless creativity of athletes and their trainers when it comes to bending the rules. So the next time you are complaining about your long run, just remember Fred Lors, hitching a ride in a car. Remember Thomas Hicks, fueled by strychnine and sheer willpower. And remember Felix Carvajal, the peach-stealing, nap-taking, marathon-loving legend. They might not have set world records, but they sure as heck made Olympic history. And they taught us all a valuable lesson. Sometimes the most memorable races are the ones where everything goes wrong. The end.
Thank you for watching. Hope you found this video informative and entertaining. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment. We do like to know and hear your feedback. And if you have the means, please consider supporting us on Patreon, where you can get early access to our videos and where we post bonus material. Till next time, this is Geeky Tidbits saying cheers and have a good day.